What's up, guys? In this video, I'm gonna show you guys how to find the quality professors, how to find the best professors at your school, at your community college, or your four-year university, or wherever you're transferring from. But it has to be a college in the United States. But I'm gonna show you how I did this, how I found the best teachers, the easiest professors, so that your chances of transferring properly and getting an A is increased. So this is how you do it. First, you go on google.com. Like I've said, probably the greatest site ever made. And then you type in rate my professor. So you go to ratemyprofessor.com. It's going to be the first one right here. It's probably the most reputable and legit website to figure out which professors you want. Oh wow, it's bought by Chegg or presented by Chegg. I didn't know that. Anyways, you go to this website and then you click find a school and you type in whichever community college you go to. But since I'm gonna show you my example, I'll show you the professors in my community college and how I did it personally. So my school was called Las Positas College. Whoops. Las Positas. So like I said, this is from my school. Obviously the professors are going to be different, the names are going to be different, and the classes are also going to be different from what you guys are probably taking. But the fundamental is exactly the same. You just have to type in your own school and find your own professors, but everything else is the same, and I'll show you guys how it's done. So, I finally went to Las Positas College, Livermore, on Rate My Professor, and then you go to the top left corner and click professors, and it'll give you an option of, I'm looking for a professor at your school. So you type in your school and then the specific professor name of the person you want to find the ratings of. But in this case, since I can't register for classes because I'm not attending the school anymore, I'm gonna go to view all professors. And if you click view all my professors, it shows you all the teachers at Las Positas College. So right here, these are all the professors, and obviously it's done by rating. And let's see, yeah, it's done by the amount of ratings rather than the rating score. So Stuart McElderly, I actually took this guy. This was a history teacher, and he had the best rating for history. He was the easiest, so I took him, and he was indeed very easy. But depending on which class and topic you're choosing, you want to go here. You want to go right here. It says enter your department. So let's say that you have to take a history course for your general education courses. So where's history? And it gives you a list of all the history professors. So right off the bat, you can kind of tell who's good and who's not good. And you also want to keep in mind of how many ratings there are. So just because someone is, let's say ranked 5.0, which is a perfect, like Jonathan Eden or Eden, but this dude only has one rating, so you can't really tell, if the class is going to be easy or not, just by one opinion. But first impression, just from the first comment, this guy says, this is not an easy A. If you want to learn and if you like history, you should take this dude, but it's not an easy class. You actually have to work hard to get an A. So for me personally, I would definitely avoid this guy because, even though it's one rating, it's a pretty thorough description. It's a pretty thorough comment made by a student, and you can kind of tell. Sometimes you can tell if the ratings are fake or if they're real. Usually the fake ones, they give you like perfect ratings, like 5 out of 5, level of difficulty 1, and it's just like a really brief description. It's like, great class, I love this class. And if the replies or if the comments are like that, it's usually fake. Believe it or not, sometimes professors, they write their own reviews, especially if they're bad professors, like bad as in like shitty teachers, because they want to up their score. So sometimes they actually go onto this website and write their own reviews, which is pretty lame, but you know, that's how it is. So this dude, Stuart McElderly, Elderly, Elderly, dude. I had this teacher and I can't even pronounce his name, but he was a history professor. He was a Berkeley grad, and he wrote his own book that we had to buy for the class. And I mentioned in my other videos about buying books, but his book was actually pretty good. Anyways, that's a tangent. But first impression. I mean, it's not my first impression. I've seen this because I used this to find this dude. But you can see all the reviews here, and it's truly a great professor. I wish I took him for other history classes. Great guy, such a great guy. I enjoyed his class. History is a dread, but I liked it. The sweetest guy, only graded on 3 things. Online quiz, so easy to get an A in the final, and he gives you a study guide or a final beforehand to give the guy so that you can study properly. So obviously, if you have how many reviews does this dude have? If you have 160 plus reviews and the overall is 4.5, dude, this is a dude that you should definitely take. Because the overall majority is saying that it's good, it's easy, it's fun. He's very passionate. So if you had to choose a history course for GE, you would definitely look into this dude. But keep in mind, like I said, just because a teacher is easy, just because a teacher is good, doesn't mean you're gonna get it. You have to consider the admission timeline. So by timeline, I mean, do you get priority? Because the more units you have, the more priority you're gonna get. So if you're a freshman, very new to community college, the chances of you getting this dude might not be high. You might have to get him your second semester or your third semester, once you gather up your unit count. I think that was the case for me. I forget. I remember the professors I took, but I just forget which semesters I took them. But this dude, I'm pretty sure I didn't get him my first semester because I had 0 units. So I think this class filled up, and I think I got this. I think I took him twice actually, for 2 of my history GEs, and both of them I got an A because of using this site. So let's look at another professor, Jane McCoy. So the reason why I want to choose this one is because it has 100 ratings, which is a lot, but the average review isn't really high. It's a 2.8, which is below average. A 3.0 is average, but I would avoid a 3.0 as well. I typically aim for 4.0s, maybe a 3.5 depending on who it is. But let's look at Jane McCoy. So it says very straight professor. Take the quizzes, take the tests, couple assignments. She will not hold your hand. Great independent learner. And experienced online students. So right off the bat, even though I've only read 1 review, I could immediately tell that this is an online course, because right here it says history. Right next to it, it shows you a computer logo, like a computer picture, and that means the class is an online class. Let's see. The time allowed for an online test is a joke. This class isn't very hard, blah blah blah. So what I can tell from these reviews, I don't even have to read all the other reviews, but it's an online class, and obviously for online classes, you don't go to class, and I think this review summed it up very well. It says, dude, the class is very straightforward. You take the quizzes, but she's not gonna hold your hand, and that's because she's not with you physically. So you got to do a lot of the work yourself. And I think that a lot of the complainers are the ones who didn't really put in the work, because this review clearly tells me, get the book. I cannot stress this enough. Quizzes are not very difficult since they are not timed. However, tests or something else. So usually for online classes, since the teacher's not with you, a lot of the things that you have to study are gonna be from the book. So these are one of the classes where you can't just skimp out on a book and try to do everything by going on Wikipedia or whatever. You have to buy books for online classes, because basically think of it as a replacement for the professor. If you're not physically going to class and getting lectured and taking notes, then how are you going to learn? You're going to learn from the book. So online classes aren't really difficult in general, but if you're the type of person who can't really do work by themselves, so for example, like if you don't have a professor next to you and like pushing you and telling you what to do, if you always need guidance from someone, then online classes may be difficult for you because you don't have that internal motivation to push you. But for me, I viewed an online class as an advantage. I don't have to drive to school. I don't have to wake up early to take the tests. I could just do all my studying by myself and then just take the tests online. And even though some of these dudes are complaining about the tests, dude, they forget that when you're taking the test, you're using your computer, aka you have access to all the documents, all the resources possible in the world. You can literally go on Google, dude, and find the answers. But I don't think these dudes are the ones that are honestly smart enough to figure that out, because they're just complaining. But for me personally, if I couldn't get Stuart McElderly, I might take this person just because it's an online class. Level of difficulty is 4, which is pretty hard, but let's see who else they got. So this person, 100 reviews, but it says it makes you work for the grade. Attendance is necessary. It's challenging but rewarding. So this kind of stuff, like I said, community college, you can go there to learn, but my mentality was to go there to get an A. So, if I had to risk and sacrifice not learning anything, but getting an A, I'd take that over learning hella shit, but getting a bad grade. So that was my mentality. You guys can think different. It all depends on, how you are and what you're like. But for me, I wanted to transfer to somewhere good, and in order to do that, you needed an A. So I avoided any teacher that was hard. So let's look at this guy. So look at this, 2.2. It only has 40 reviews, which is still a lot, but overall, you can kind of tell that this dude is easy. Let's see. Extremely boring and tough grader. I'm unsure of his grading policy. He lectures as if he's telling a story. Extra credits, you want to look at this too. Extra credits are crucial, because some tests you're not going to do well, and that was the case for me. I mean, you can't get an A on every single test. That's pretty hard. But if you have teachers that give you extra credit opportunity, dude, definitely take them, because at a 4-year university, they rarely give you extra credit. Especially for USC, I don't think any of my teachers gave extra credit. But community college, they want you to do well for the most part, so they give you extra credit opportunity. So if you have that, if a professor is willing to give you extra credit, dude, go for it. So let's look at this review. I don't understand why people give this man great reviews. The first day he hands you a syllabus that takes 3 hours to go over and skips around the whole thing. He won't tell you what you missed on graded assignments. Just gives a grade. He gives out notes that he wrote on a Sharpie that have been photocopied. He seems sick of teaching. So this guy, I could kind of tell that he didn't get a good grade and he was kind of salty, um, because the review itself wasn't that good, and he's kind of like dissing him. He's like, "Yo, this guy's sick of teaching." So even though I don't know this person specifically, I can kind of tell that he didn't really put in the work. He's just complaining, because if you put in the work, um, and even if this dude may be a tough grader, I mean, you're gonna give him a 1 and a 5, dude. That this guy's just a big complainer. So you can't just take a review for face value. You can't just read this and be like, wow, like this guy must suck. I'm not teaching him. You got to look at the other reviews as well. That's why only one person found it helpful and 6 gave him a thumbs down. So I would just skimp over this. Like I wouldn't really take this that serious. Um, so let's see, like this one. He's like, he's a nice man. His class is so easy. Like, why would this guy say he's terrible, but why would this guy say it's easy and then no one should fail? Why are they complete opposite? You got to think of those kind of things. So overall, I can kind of tell that this guy, his classes are just long and is boring. It's like longest lectures of my life. But I think in terms of tests and grading, it's easy because he says he gives a study guide, gives extra credit. He allows 3 pages front and back on each of the 2 tests. What does that mean? But yeah, I think this is the type of professor whose lectures suck, who's hella boring, but he's hella chill, and for the midterm and the finals, he gives you the study guide, which is practically the test. And you can take notes, dude, on your midterm. Okay, so gives extra credit like it's Halloween. All right, so this dude is probably someone that you're not going to really learn much on history-wise, but in terms of getting an A, it's probably great. So the guys who didn't do well are probably just not smart in general. I mean, there's nothing I can say about it, but a lot of people, if they don't do well, they just complain all the time, and those people you don't really want to rely on too heavily. All right, damn, 1.5. Let's see why this person is 1.5. Okay, so everyone just basically says it's hella hard, it's really tough, it's an online class. Um, yeah, so you can tell, just avoid this person. Um, Even though it's only like 6 reviews, if everyone is saying it's hard, then it's probably hard. So yeah, basically that's what you do in terms of finding professors. You go to the specific department of what you want to take, and obviously there's a lot of professors here. It's because it's not just one professor that teaches every topic. For each department, there's going to be a handful of professors, so you have to go through each person and look at the reviews, analyze what the students are saying about the professors, and you have to come to your own final decision, your own final judgment. And this is a pretty it takes time. This isn't something that you should just take lightly. You shouldn't just spend 10 minutes and okay, I'm gonna choose this dude and that dude and this dude. No, you have to go through every professor and see which one is the best, and you have to make schedule A in case you don't get, or you have to make schedule B, a backup schedule, and then schedule C in case your backup doesn't work. So you have to make several backup schedules so that just in case you don't get the classes and professors, you have a backup plan. But it's basically the same for every other department you choose. I showed you guys the example for history, but let's say you're doing English, you do the same thing. Dude, this was the teacher I had. Oh my god, dude, I hated this teacher. Damn, she still teaches? Dude, this was the Berkeley professor. Like the old grandma, dude, she was hella fucking hard. And she made it like, dude, the people who say she's a great professor, like she was a good professor, but dude, it, it it was just so hard. Like I didn't take her again. And then she forced us to buy her own book, and her book was just not good, and it was really expensive. But the people who liked her, I think, are the ones who liked English in general. Like she did teach a lot about like the English subject and like the grammar and like like the shit like that. But in terms of getting an A, like I would have never taken her again. See, look, mandatory purchase of a $55 textbook she wrote herself, um, consisting of diary-like entries poorly meandering around the top. So yeah, this is the person I took. She forced us to buy a home book, which is fucking terrible. But you know, you basically go through every one. Damn, dude, that sucks. Like this was really bad for the professors. Like you know, like think about it. Let's say you're a professor and you go to this website and you search in your own name, and then once you look at your rating, it's like hella shitty. That'd be pretty funny, but just don't be a shitty teacher, dude. See, that's the power of reviews. That's the power of social proof. If a lot of people say you're good, then a lot of people believe you. And if a lot of people say you're bad, a lot of people will believe you on that as well. So, yeah, Rate My Professor is a very important site, a very crucial site to figure out which professors to find, which professors are good, which professors are bad. You should never just sign up for teachers blindly because you want to increase your chances of getting an A. And if there's a website that helps you do that for free, dude, it'll be fucking stupid if you didn't do it. So go to Rate My Professors if you want to increase your chances of finding quality teachers.